Hey there! I hope by the end of this video, you'll have learned a lot from us and that it will have helped you write a position paper. On this unit, you will learn the following. Lesson 1. Features and purposes of a position paper. This will be discussed with Ms. Sususko. Lesson 2. Making a stand on an issue. This will be discussed with Ms. Villa and Ms. Malumpon. Lesson 3. Analyzing a position paper. This will be discussed with Mr. Vandal and Ms. Sususko. The last but not the least, Lesson 4. Writing a position paper. This will be discussed with Ms. Legaspi and Ms. Villasis. Features and purposes of a position paper. First, what exactly is a position paper? A position paper is another form of academic writing that is typically written after reading about and having a discussion on a particular issue. A position paper is not simply a reporting of the issue at hand. It involves actively choosing a side and supporting it, even it means encountering resistance and opposition. A position paper involves a lot of research preparations and gathering facts and evidence, as these are essential in order to make your paper more appealing. Consequently, these are general guidelines for citing sources, paraphrasing, quoting, and avoiding plagiarism. It is also important to take these counter-arguments seriously and honestly. Develop them without bias, so that your arguments will be even stronger when you refute these counterclaims in your paper. Second, what serves as a position paper's purpose? Its general purpose is to generate support for a side or position, to convince the audience that your opinion is valid and worth listening to. There are so many scenarios that a position paper could be useful, such as arguing for against school policy, supporting a product, or praising or condemning a person's action, and more. A well-written position paper can convince the people to support you, to convince those with the power to implement these solutions, to give your preferred one a chance, present your position in support of a particular solution. What are the features of a position paper? As I mentioned earlier, a position paper, like most other academic papers, and follows the structure of having an introduction, body, and conclusion. Now let's start an introduction. The introduction of your position paper should accomplish the following. First, introduce the topic or issue. Second, provide background information on the issue to explain its importance. Third, give and assert your thesis statement, which is your view or take on the issue. Your introduction should include the both subject or issue as well as your viewpoint on it, which is your thesis statement. To be able to draw your readers in and keep them interested in what you have to say, a topic can be introduced by giving its context and providing a background that puts it into perspective. Identify the area in which your topic intersects and then move on to a more specific point of discussion. And now we will proceed to the body. Your body is supposed to be the longest part of your paper. It contains your arguments in support of your chosen position, and it contains a section or paragraph talking about counter-arguments. It is a good idea to have at least 3 main points that defend your position, and they can be separated into different paragraphs. Each paragraph should contain the main point, your educated and informed opinion on the issue given this point, and support or proof from various sources that help defend your point. A paragraph on counter-argument is optional in a position paper. If you choose to address the other position, your paragraph or paragraphs should summarize first the counterclaims and provide information on them as well. You can provide evidence for your own counter-argument if you refute the counterclaims. Knowledge on the counterpoint can help you focus on your research on facts that can refute your arguments. And the last part is the conclusion. The conclusion of your position paper should be brief. It contains our statement of your thesis statement. In conclusion, no new major is introduced while plans are suggested, but it should give a plan of action.
Unit 8, the position paper. Lesson 2, making a stand on an issue. Choosing an issue and position. If you are asked to choose your own topic for a position paper, you must first ensure that the topic you choose is something that can be argued. The issue you choose should be arguable enough that sides are formed to debate about it. You can ask the following. It is a real issue with genuine controversy and uncertainty. Can you identify at least two distinctive positions? Are you personally interested in advocating one of those positions? It is a scope of the issue narrow enough to be manageable. Example number 1. A big topic that you could choose. It is the shape of the earth, with one side starting at 8 round and the other side believing that it is flat. Well, it might be common enough argument online to many scientific facts already prove the earth is round. So here is some tips. If you have to do freedom to do so, you must do some preliminary research before settings on a topic. There are many issues wherein one side already has too many irrefutable facts backing it for the other side to have compelling argument against it. Remember, part of the body of your position paper can be dedicated to refuting the counter-arguments of the opposite side. With your list of pros and cons, you can address possible counterpoint to the side you have chosen. You may identify the side that you are interested in as your preliminary research or form opinions based on what you hear or learn from other people. As you develop your stand on an issue, ask yourself the following questions in order to guide your planning and research. Readers tend to be more compelled to read an argument that they have not yet heard before. On the other hand, they are most likely to ignore an argument that they have encountered 100 times before. Your side and your defense of it must be concrete and plausible. One or two good sources are usually not enough to prove your side in the superior one in the issue. While it is impossible to become a mind reader and predict how your readers might reach to your position paper, it's better to try and get idea of what kind of people would be interested in your issue or side.
Hello, I'm Nathaniel Pindal from Section Diligence. I'm here to report Unit 9, Lesson 3.
Analyzing content. When analyzing the content of an argument or idea, you are looking at things like claims, evidence to support those claims, and if that evidence makes sense. Of two major parts. Number 1, a claim or statement that summarizes the main idea. And number 2, reasons or evidence that supports why the claim is true. Using the Tolman method, an argument can be more deeply analyzed by dividing the parts of an argument. even further. With this method, we can look at the following elements of an argument. Claim. A claim must be argumentative. When you make a claim, you are arguing for a certain interpretation or understanding of your subject. Ground or basis are the facts, data, or reasoning that try to make case for the claim. You can include a brief literature review in your discussion of the background issue. Warrant, although must think about how clear he or she wants the warrant to be, and this is dependent on how much he or she thinks the readers already know about the issue in question or the side they are on. Blocking include a description of the position paper. Subject will focus on the issue. The paper is addressing this include 2 or 3 paragraphs describing the issue. Qualifiers and strength to claims because they let the audience know that author rules that not expect his or her opinion to be true all the time. Rebuttal. A form of evidence that is present to contradict or nullify other evidence that has been presented by an adverse party.
Thinking rhetorically. Rhetorical analysis is about exploring the strategies and writing techniques applied in a particular piece. Analyze the aspects of reading another person's position paper. First, ethos. Appealing to ethos is about using credibility either of the writer or the sources used in order to be persuasive. Essentially, ethos is about believability. Second, pathos. Appealing to pathos is about appealing to the audience emotions. People emotions can be easily moved, so pathos can be powerful mode of persuasion. Third, logos. Logos is about appealing to the audience's logical side. The authors have to think about what makes sense to their audience and use that to build their argument. Fourth, audience. Audience should have an impact on people's writing, and paying attention to the readers or the audience is equally important in analysis. Second, the purpose. Purpose is often, if not always, to persuade readers to take the writer's side. And the last but not the least, voice. Analyze based on the effectiveness and appropriateness it has on a topic of the paper.
Hello, this is Alexa attending with the School Perception Diligence. I'm here to report Unit 9 Lesson 4. Now let's discuss about tips on writing a position paper. But before that, let me explain what is position paper. Position paper is an essay that presents an agreeable opinion about an issue, typically of the author of some specified entity. Position papers are published in academics, in politics, in law, and other domains. Now that we know what is position paper, let's continue to our main topic.
Tips on writing a position paper. Tips on writing a position paper. Once you have an outline ready, you may now begin writing your position paper. When writing a position paper, there are a number of things that would be useful to keep in mind.
Now that we're done with explaining the main topic, here is the overview to our other topic that I will be discussing.
In this topic, we will be discussing about introduction, body, conclusion. Introduction. The introduction will most likely be the first thing that readers will look at aside from the title. More often than not, your introduction will determine if your readers will continue to the next part of your paper or if they will stop and dismiss it entirely. So it is essential to write an introduction that is attractive to readers.
And it also identifies the issue that will be discussed and states the author's position on that issue.
Body. When writing the body of your position paper, it is the best to start your paragraphs with good topic sentences. The topic sentences is a short introduction to an idea that you will be discussing in that paragraph. Since you separated your main idea into different sections in your outline. Each paragraph should have its own main idea. A good topic sentences can quickly and accurately explain to the readers what arguments and evidence they can expect from the rest of the paragraph.
The body part also involves background information, evidence to back up your opinion, and analysis of both sides of the subject matter.
Conclusion. Again, your conclusion should contain a statement of your thesis statement and a plan of action. However, to make your conclusion more impactful, you can also add a summary of your main points after stating your thesis. This also can help your readers check if they were able to grasp all your arguments in your paper fully.
Also address opposing viewpoints and explain why readers should align with your position, call for action, or overview future research possibilities. And now, since we were done, this is how we recognize what the topic was if we are on a quiz, test, or oral recitation. Here is the easy way to memorize our topic we discussed. Once again, this is Alexia Tananigaspi from Section Diligence, your last reporter on this unit. Thank you so much.
Good day everyone, I'm Stella Marie Villasis. So for today, I'm going to report Unit 9, Lesson 4, Outlining Your Position Paper. Outlining your position paper. Once you have your issue, it is always best to begin with research when you're writing a position paper. Establish a position once you are satisfied with the amount and quality of the information that you have, and then you can begin your position paper. When your outline, it should already follow the structure that position paper will have. Start with the introduction, followed by the body, and then the conclusion. The introduction should present the topic or issue, provide a background of the issue, and give your view of your position on the issue. Your outline should already show this part of your introduction, so it should like something like this. The introduction should present the topic or issue, provide a background of the issue, and give your view of your position on the issue. Your outline should already show this part of your introduction, so it should like something like this. B. Background on the issue. The background material should explain the nature of the issue, explore its scope, the context in which it should be considered, and the extent to which earlier research has successfully addressed the issue. It should also point out any gaps that need to be filled by your study. For example, schools tend to each other subjects in English on top of teaching English. Example, students' mother tongue should be used to teach non-English subjects. The body of your paper should have your arguments and the evidence you have collected to back up your arguments. Remember that research for these counterclaims is just as important as research from your own arguments. If you can prove that you are refutes strong counter-arguments that further strengthens your own arguments. Second, the body. Argument number 1. For example, speaking and learning in their mother tongue comes more naturally to children. Number 1. Argument number 1. Example, children learn faster in their tongue. 2. Argument number 2. For example, Students are more comfortable with using their mother tongue. Argument number 3. Example. Recall and retention are easier in the mother tongue. Argument number 2. Example. Subject taught in their mother tongue can lessen their academic workload. Number 1. Supporting evidence number 1. Example. They are learning English on top of other subjects. Supporting evidence number 2. Example. Using the mother tongue in other subjects allows them to focus on the subject. Supporting evidence number 3. Example. Translating does not become an extra burden when they are studying other subjects. C. Argument number 3. Example. Focusing on learning in the mother tongue helps in language proficiency in general. Number 1. Supporting evidence number 1. Example. Allowing children to study other subjects in their mother tongue helps them master the language as well. Supporting evidence number 2. Example. They can focus on mastering their mother tongue first. Supporting evidence number 3. Example. Mastery in one language can help mastery in other languages. The conclusion is the shortest and most straightforward part of your position paper. So its outline is also the easiest to write. Remember that the conclusion states your thesis or position and then provides a plan of action without offering new information. Third, conclusion. A. Restatement of your position is something that has been said or written is another statement that repeats its usually in a straightly different form. Example. Students should be taught on non-English classes in their mother tongue. B. Proposed plan of action. An action plan is a list of the steps or duties you must carry out in order to accomplish the objective you have set. Example, more school should consider teaching subject in the student mother tongue. Proposed plan of action. An action plan is a list of the steps or duties you must carry out in order to accomplish the objective you have set. Example, more school should consider teaching subject in the student mother tongue.